Sorry, person.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Welcome to the live. Hello, everyone. Happy post Valentine's Day. I hope you all just took time to love yourself, love on your loved ones. I realized that I did not call anybody in my family. Y'all. I was so absorbed with myself. I think I sent a comment on my sister's story post that was like, "Happy Valentine's Day." Every single year, I make sure to reach out to everyone and I make sure to be the one. Like, I'm the one. I'm always like, Happy Valentine's Day. And I'm the ticker. Like, I'm the one always, texting and sending out messages. This year, listen, I told Bay, I said, I don't know what you were thinking, but I'm not nobody else but me. So you have to do something that like goes above and beyond what last year happened. Like it's just gonna have to happen. I was all about me yesterday. And we went through a private screening of this Sofar music. I don't know if you ever heard of Sofar, SOFAR, but it's so good. And we had music and entertainment, so it was really nice. But I'm just recovering because I'm not young anymore, so couldn't stay out too late. But I just wanted to celebrate love. And why is this giving me okay? It's giving me some issues with the connection. So hold on 1 second. Make sure it's streaming. And then TC, I want to know, how did it go for you? Like what what was Valentine's Day like for you? Did you kiss all over your babies? Did you just give yourself a hug and show yourself some love? Did your husband come in with flowers? What happened?
they
And who we got to beat up?
they so they had a nice time because they were like I don't obviously don't know what's happening, right? So I think it was just more like you know they doing what they're doing, slept on my head, like all of so what I did was I came out of the office earlier than I used to. And they're like, Mommy, and I'm like, hey, I just had a phone, and we're just and then we stayed, they slept, I did their night thing, routine, and all of that. I think they were happy, right? But after I was done, like my entire, my first twin is like three times my second twin, like weight. So, and he's like, carry me. And so we were doing all of the carrying yesterday. And after I was done, like this arm was like, help me, Lord, help me, Lord. So I literally slept like a log of wood yesterday. That's the truth. I remember Miss Phyllis called, and she's like, TC, you picked. And I said, yes, you called. And she's like, aren't you supposed to go for like, the whole Valentine thing and all? And I said, no, I'm going to bed. And she's like, I'm like, I am tired. All I want to do right now is sleep. And that's just the honest truth, I tell you. But 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 we have plans for the weekend. We have made a very nice plan for the weekend. So hopefully we're going to be keeping the keep somewhere for some hours and just, taking our time. And yeah, so that's consolation. But yeah, yesterday was just very tiring. That's the truth. They had fun. I didn't have fun because my arm was almost off. So yes, that's the story of my life for yesterday.
Okay, wait. I don't know what happened to the TC. Are we stream? I had to reconnect some of the channels because I'm like, are we streaming on the right channels? And did you connect your channels? We got to be
It's not
streaming
connected.
because okay. Okay, I'm in there.
Are
I'm
you?
in there. Okay, so we're
Are
in
we live?
now. Yeah, we are. We are.
Are we?
But I wasn't in the win community yet. So I couldn't see it in the win community. And I was like, what happened? So I had to connect the live to the StreamYard while you were speaking. So you can do that, y'all, like just in case you have technical problems like I did. It was kind of weird. But
Mm. Okay, let me do that
I'm
again.
glad you got yeah, I'm glad you got your rest, TC. I mean, so let's talk today because now that we've kind of recovered from whatever our festivities were, Lack of, because some of us did need a lot of rest. What happened? Oh, you see it?
No, I
Okay.
think mine went off,
So what I want to talk,
but I think I just go on, go on. I'm good
I
now.
see yours, Facebook.
Okay, okay, go on. I think I'm good now.
Did I spell this right? Analysis paralysis. Okay. So listen, shout out to Virgin Hair Fantasy. Woo. Okay. I just had to straighten that one piece. It's like bothering me. So so listen, we, myself and TeeCee, we've been having this series and it's been going since last year. And we really appreciate those of you who have added lots of value here. We had the Instagram live this past, well, what is it, yesterday, which was a Q&A. TeeCee, I don't know if you got all those questions written down, but I mean, they were asking questions that they needed answers to. And I think it's valid because we all need answers. We all need to understand what it is that we're doing in our business. No one has all the answers. And so being able to utilize, whoever it is or whatever it is you need, whether it's a coach or consultant, and whether it's a marketing strategist or someone like TeeCee to just implement that thing for you, you got to get the resource you need. And so we were, and it starts with a question. So I was looking at the questions yesterday and it dawned on me, something really triggered me too. Okay. Hey, welcome to the live. Y'all make sure we can't see everyone on every platform. So feel free to drop in the comments where you're from, whether you're a WIN member or if you're just randomly watching from the channel. And also hashtag live or hashtag replay. Like that helps us out a lot too. So I wanted to kind of start there, TeeCee, because I'm a business coach, right? I'm a marketing strategist. I'm also a business analyst. This is like a 3-in-1. And the reason that is because as I was growing my business with my lead magnets, right? I had to figure out like what is it that my clients needed. And sometimes that meant outsourcing, sometimes that meant in-house. And I think that we have to really understand how to, discover problem solution theories and how to solve things in our businesses without, feeling overwhelmed. And that's where I was talking to TeeCee and I said, TeeCee, it really hit me since the question that I think Soda asked yesterday. And she was saying that she was looking to see where her audience was coming from, like to see like where her audience really is, like which platform, whether it's TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, like she's just figuring it out. And we gave her some suggestions, so go watch that live because it has some really good gems in there. It's on both myself and TeeCee's channel on Instagram. But I want to just say it hit me after I thought of, like, I even rewatched the live, okay? And I thought about it again. And I said, what is it about that question that really made me, because I stumbled a little and I was like, wait, I was like, she's not talking about conversion. She's talking about finding her audience. Because it's one thing to come to identify where to mainly be to convert your audience, but it's like if you don't even know where your audience is, that's number one. You can't even convert yet. You have to figure out if the people that you want to work with, the people that want your products and services, that wherever those people are, that you just place yourself, right? And that's why we talk about the marketing mix, which is something I teach. And so I wanted to start there because if that question is coming up, that means that we're still in that beginning stage of like figuring out, okay, who do I want to serve? Who out there is the ideal audience that, and it's not necessarily about who do I want to serve because I just love doing it. Because it's one thing to, and we have a lot of servant hearts, right? We have a lot of people that are like, I just love what I do and I just want to help everybody. That's one thing, but that's not, that's not business, right? That is you and your personal agenda and your heart for people, your heart for doing things. And that's why people become servant leaders, right? They start volunteering in their communities. They give money to local charities, right? Shout out to the WIN community. Go ahead and donate to our nonprofit organization if you are that helper, right? There are people that like that, but don't take that same attitude into your business. Because when you do that, what happens is people start to take advantage of it, right? And as good as we want to see people as, we have to realize that there is good and bad in the world. And so when you present something that you feel, okay, I really want to get this out there in the world to help people. Say, for example, when we were live last night, let's take Phyllis for example, because Phyllis was asking questions too yesterday, and she has like skincare line, right, wellness line, and all of her products are really about, taking your wellness, but looking not just from the outside, but looking from the inside out too, because all the products you put on your body also go in your body. So those ingredients have to be really good, and stuff like that. But I was just thinking about, just an example of that, like just those products, and how they can help people where they are right now, whether they're having like eczema issues, or they're having rashes, or burns that are trying to heal, right? I'm not even going to tell y'all how many ways I used her product. But the thing about it is, you have to understand, like where your product fits people in the market. Because if I know that there are 50,000 people in the world that have eczema, and 10,000 of those people are in America, and 5,000 of those people are in, the East Coast, right? Like you gotta dissect these things, because you can't reach everybody all the time. So you have to start where you are. So go where the most people are that have eczema, right? Go where the most people are that have issues. And so I wanted to really start there, because if we can't identify even that part, like, hey, my product helps people with eczema, or hey, my product helps you get glowy skin, right? Then you really don't know who you're talking to. Because if I don't have eczema, then why would I care? If I don't have any skin ailments, why would I care? Right? You have to give me a reason to care about wanting what you have. It has to solve a problem for me. And so when I thought about the questions from yesterday, when we're identifying our audience, I think that that's where a lot of us are stuck, like still. And I want to hear from TeeCee too, because as we're talking about analysis paralysis, I had to dig deeper, TeeCee, because I said, whoa, I was like, you're right. We do. We go all over and over and over again in our heads about stuff that we know we need to do, but we don't do it. And what I emphasized to TeeCee, that I said that I think it's because we have to get out of the energy of liking what we want to do, and going to and transferring that over to the people who are going to buy from us and do what they like. Because once you transfer the energy of that, right? Because it's not your personal life, it's your business. Once you realize that, hey, I have to reverse this thing, and I have to focus on the people who are going to buy. So where are those people at? What do they want? What are their problems? When you really start honing into that, then the analysis paralysis, which I'll let TeeCee explain today again, that goes away, because you're no longer like trying to figure out, oh, which platform and what do I want to post, and how do I want to post it, right? You're not trying to figure out all of these crazy ideas, because even if you don't have a full strategy, even if you don't have anything planned, you can literally look at your clients, look at your audience, that because you know them, right? You know their pains, you know what they need from you. And you can create content every single day just off of knowing your audience, and be very seamless with offering products. Because how many times have you went into a store, saw a dress or a perfume, or a purse you like, and what do? You gonna tell people about it. You're like, oh my God, I saw this purse, I saw this dress. It was so cute. It had the buttons on the front. You're gonna describe that thing. You're gonna be so excited, right? You literally just advertised and promoted that item to your friend. You just told your friend how great something was and that they should buy it too. And so when you have that same energy with your own products and your business to your clients and treat them like your friends, then your sales pitches and your sales funnels and your lead this and lead that, it just becomes a conversation. So I wanted to emphasize that. TeeCee, I'm gonna pass it over because I'm done my rant. I just had to get it out because I was like, y'all, we gotta stop staying on platforms that we say, well, I'm looking for my audience, when you're really there because you just enjoy it. Like, I was on Instagram before I started promoting, and some of my clients were like, oh my God, you're always on Instagram. I don't know how to use Instagram. I said, then don't. I use Instagram because I like it. And it just so happens to make me a lot of money. Now, if you don't benefit from using it, then that's not your place. And if your audience is not there, then that's definitely not your place. So we have to figure out how to balance that thing. Like, if you really like and enjoy being on certain platforms, stay on there, but do it for the right reasons. But where your audience is for your business, find those platforms and make sure you specifically know who you're targeting, why you're targeting them, and what you're going to offer them. And we'll go ahead and dial that in after, we get more into this conversation. Go ahead, TC.
I love the conversation. While you were speaking, I was saying something in my head. I said it's no longer about um doing what you love, right? You see, in this day and time with business, we've gone past doing what we love. Now we want to start to love what we do, meaning we want to start to love what works. Okay. So we're able to get the ROI because sometimes, when you realize that what you're loving up on is not giving you results, start to do what will give you results and love up on it. Over time, you would fall in love. You see, falling in love is not difficult. Okay, we're in the love season, so it's not difficult. All you need to do is understand, understand the benefits, see how amazing, that particular scenario, that particular platform is for you. The fact that you're able to meet your ideal clients, you're able to meet your target audience. That's a an amazing step to start with. Right now, start to love it. Okay, see, most times where the money is not always comfortable, it's not always convenient. But you know what will happen is that when you start to do it with an open mind, with understanding that this is what is needed, you would realize that you start to fit in. You realize that, oh my gosh, I love it because that's what you're called to do. However, you're not just doing it that way. I feel like sometimes it's because we have this mental, issue, which basically we diagnosed and we found out that the name is called analysis paralysis. Okay, so you know how we have paralysis of different things, we have paralysis of that, paralysis of this. Now, this is paralysis, what like analysis paralysis, meaning you overthinking things, right? The act of you overthinking every single thing, right? Some, you realize that, okay, you know what, your ideal client is on Instagram. Then you start to overthink Instagram. You start to tell yourself, so how do I do this? Oh, am I supposed to go live 1 billion times? Like, just the thought of going live like 5 times in a day is already getting your mind exhausted. Who says you have to go live 5 times in a day? Who says you have to go live 5 times in a week? Who says you have to start with that? Now, people that do live streams, we didn't just start to do live streams. Maybe some people were born to do live streams, like they just wake up on Monday and like, good, like I've got it, check, 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 I'm the live stream queen. I don't know. But one thing I know is that practice the same, makes you perfect, right? Especially when you've understood that that is the path for you. Right now, like I was talking about, breaking down what analysis paralysis is, and I tell you, you're really that word. So me and words, right? So I'm like thinking in my head. I was trying to think about how to get like my people into the whole vibe of the academy and all of that. And I started to like do like a little survey to find out like what do people really want? What do these people really want, right? And when you have asked questions like that, the usual answer. I want sales, I want leads, I want sales, I want leads, I want sales, I want leads. And I'm like, are you sure this is actually the pressing issue? Are you sure this is the foundational problem, right? And I started to, dive deep and dive deep, and I realized that TC, you're actually overthinking this thing, right? And so I started to research. which is what so many of us do not like to do, research. Now, every business owner needs to research, right? So I started to research. So I started to research on my own problem. Yeah, because I also have that as well. I overthink things most times, but now I'm trying to put a structure around my habit of overthinking. Right? Overthinking sometimes is good, but when you do it, when you do it without a goal, when you do it without having a plan or having a strategy behind overthinking, right? Sometimes it's just very draining and it affects your mental health, and then it stops you from getting to where you need to get to. Instead of you getting you results because you are thinking far, you're thinking deep, you're deep diving into that thought, you end up doing nothing at all, right? Because then now what you have is analysis paralysis. Oh my gosh, that word is very big. Okay, so Allegra is just shaking her head. No, but y'all see, as entrepreneurs, right, as business owners, when we start to procrastinate, when we start to tell ourselves reasons why we can't take that next step, we know that we need, yes, it kills productivity. So we know that we need help, okay? We know we need guidance. Now we start to overthink what it involves, right? Forgetting what the outcome is, forgetting where we're heading to, forgetting what the goal is, right? And we start to overthink so many things. Now, what you should be thinking about is, who can help me? How do I locate the person? How can I connect with the person? How can I get the person to help me? Help me, right? Then we start to think about things that are unnecessary, like things like how much, or am I sure I really need help? Now you're asking yourself all of those questions. Why? Because you don't want to invest. You don't want to invest in yourself. And so you start to think and overthink. I'm just giving this an example. And so we start to overthink, and then the next thing we say to ourselves, you know, I'll just do it myself. I'll go to YouTube, I'll do it myself. That would take you about maybe 3 to 4 years for you to finally get on with what you're supposed to do. Now, the entire world would have gone far, and you are still there in 1904 trying to use how many years strength? Like the world has gone, and you're still there overthinking things, right? So now that's one of the disadvantage with analysis paralysis, right? And I feel like once we're able to get comfortable in understanding that we are all that we need, also sometimes we are also the reasons why we are not able to move forward, right? We're not we Sometimes we're still the reasons why we're not able to get to that next level, right? Because we just sit down and try to tell ourselves 1001 reasons why we can't do certain things, 1001 reasons why you must use TikTok, even when you know that your ideal clients, the people that are willing and ready to pay you, are not on TikTok. But because you feel that you are able to get 1 billion followers on TikTok, and because of just the fact that you see those followers and you're happy, you go on TikTok and you spend hours on TikTok doing what you're supposed to be doing, or maybe places like Pinterest, or places like, because you can also pin videos as well. I like that you can pin videos on Pinterest as well, right? So if the case is, if um what you love is to create videos, you can pin it as well on Pinterest. That's where your ideal client is, right? You want to, as much as possible, pause and stop to overthink things, right? So you're able to get, I don't want to use the same word again, analysis paralysis. So over to your leg. Over to your leg there.
That's amazing. I mean, I'm over here typing in because I think, first of all, I love what you said. One of the words that came up for me, y'all, was stubborn, because I have worked with individuals that I had to look at why there were things, and I still have people, like I have people I know right now this day that are in my life that because you see something that's really good for them, right? Like you're like, no, that will solve your problem, but because of their own inability to see past whatever they're experiencing, so they could be stubborn, they could be facing depression, right? They could be in overwhelm, they could be in burnout, right? And this is why we talk about these things. Because when we look at our personal development and see like where we are mentally, physically, emotionally, especially as women, emotionally, because sometimes we see things and we hear things and we take it a certain way and it's not the way that it was said, right? Because of our emotions. And so I want to kind of emphasize that because y'all listen, when we are in analysis paralysis, we are really basically there's something that we're doing that I believe is holding us back. And because we are doing that, which we call like a self-sabotaging behavior, right? And because we're doing that, whether it's consciously or subconsciously, then that's when we start to get in that overwhelm. And then our brains try to figure out, like, why haven't we moved forward? Like, why haven't, like, that that's the next step, but why haven't you moved? Because your brain is thinking, okay? It's like that makes sense, right? And that's why we get really motivated, right? And I know this for a fact because I've done it. So we get really motivated in these conferences, and we get these coaches and these mentors, and we were really motivated, right? And we're like, whoo, that's right, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do that. And we get really excited, we put our heels on, we put our suits on, we go take on the world for a couple of weeks, and then it's back to reality, because we never really worked on what the real issue was, right? And so you have to really be mindful about, like when you're operating your business, what kind of things you need to be working on the personal development side. Because TC, to what you're talking about, what came up for me, that stubbornness, that is something that I know that is a character flaw. It's a character flaw. So if you are stubborn normally, right? Like if you are the person in your family that people are like, you just so stubborn, that's going to go into your business, and you're going to have the same attitude about when someone tells you what's wise for you to do. And that could be, and there's so many, TC, you're right, there's so many different like things that you could be doing. And I wrote down something. Y'all know how I do, I always have to write things down, because y'all know I'm somewhere on the spectrum. I don't know where, but I just got to make sure I cover myself. Okay. So like, so you were talking about earlier that process, right? And I was thinking, like, there are a lot of times we do get on platforms that we don't like, and we don't give ourselves time to fall in love with that, right? Like to fall in love with the process of learning it, to fall in love with the process of actually bettering yourself. Because whenever you are learning something new, whether it's a social media app or a new program, or I don't know, getting educated in a new field somewhere, you're always empowering yourself, because education is going to get you indoors that, you know what I'm saying, that other things can't. Sometimes you have to be able to have certain terms of knowledge to be able to speak certain ways. And so fall in love with your process. Because if you realize, think about the things that you've done in the past that you didn't want to learn, right? Because you may be stubborn, or maybe you just like, I don't have the capacity, I don't know if I can learn it. But when you actually did it, how you felt afterwards, how you felt when it was accomplished, right? So we're constantly in the capability of learning. We're constantly in a space of, if you want to, you can get more. But the question is, are you going to take action to make sure that you do the things to get that more? And that's really what happens. So the self-sabotaging and all those things really do kind of like get in the way, and then we start to over analyze everything too, because we're like beating ourselves up, like, oh my god, I never did it. I knew I should have, right? Like sometimes people get in our lives and they're like, oh my god, Allegra, like, you've been talking to me about this for 3 years. It's okay. Like some people have been in analysis paralysis for that long, and it takes sometimes, you never know what your process looks like. It takes sometimes some years for you to go through some things in order for you to have a story to tell anyway. So embrace that process and fall in love with that too. Because if you are overwhelmed because you're like, oh my God, I'm not there yet, I didn't get all the sales that I wanted, I said I was going to make $10,000 this month and it didn't, have to leave my job. All of these things that end up being problems for you, emotionally and mentally, you got to be able to let that stuff go and be okay with where you are. You have to be able to be okay with the fact that I'm in the beginning process of my business. Even if I've been running it for 10 years, maybe I'm still in year one. And that's one of the hardest truths that I have to tell a lot of people that I work with, is that, I understand that you've been working really hard in this and it's been some years, but realize that if you were to go out here and really do what you want to do, the goals that you say that you have, that you want to fulfill, okay, you technically are in year one. So we got to get you to year 10 really fast, right? We got to catch you up. So there are so many things that we have to kind of do checks and balances on, and see the future while you're enjoying that process of learning new apps and new programs. Because if you're learning like TikTok for the first time, and TikTok is like, it's people are like, that's for the young generation. I don't know, y'all. I mean, maybe those are the ones watching mostly, but for the business owner that's selling the product, and the type of marketing, that campaigns that you can create around that audience that you're speaking to, that there has to be some intentionality there. And so if you are in love with the process of learning, then you'll start to do like what TeeCee said. You'll start to do research while you're learning the functions behind the app, right? I remember when I first got on TikTok and I was like, oh my God, like what are all these people coming on my feed for? All these randoms. I'm like, these random people, I don't even know these people. And it's a different environment, a different world. But here's what I did do: I followed the people that I did know. Okay, I followed the people that I did trust. I started asking questions about how they use the app. I started looking at the back end of the functions of the app, and then I also tested some of my lives. And one of the lives that I tested on TikTok, y'all, let me tell you something. And this is why I got more confident on Instagram. So don't think just because you test something out that it's not going to pan out for you in the end. I had one reel go viral and I wasn't even trying. So this was way back in the day, right? But I was testing the app. So you have to look at that and say, okay, because that prepared me to know what it looked like to go viral for the future. But even if I didn't go viral, y'all, I was able to see things and learn things that today people are just finding out about. And now people will hire me to teach them, right? Like, teach me what you know. So you never know how it's going to pan out for you, but I just want people to still look towards the future. Like, maybe I don't want to use it now, but will that possibly have a benefit for me in the future? And maybe you need some help seeing that. So that's what coaching and consulting is for. But I also want to mention another thing too, and this is the last thing I'll mention, because when you I wrote so much stuff down, y'all. Um, I want, okay, so first of all, I want us to understand to work on the things that trigger you. Because when you were talking, TeeCee, I was thinking to myself, we have some things that happen in business. I remember when I was younger, I started my business when I was in my 20s. And I remember being around people that really made me feel less than. Like, I was around people that were like really like high up there. They had lots of money. They were around millionaires, right? Like, these people were high spaces. And here my mentors like, go to that conference, go to that room, do this, do that. And I'm sitting there like, but it's just little old me. Like, I'm only 20 something years old. Like, I don't want to go in that room with those people. Like, that's weird. But I had a whole business. I had products to sell. Do you know that one of those individuals worked with the city? And if I would have stepped in that room, I would have literally had a city contract in my 20s for my business. I'd have been a billionaire by now. So, we have to understand, a lot of these things, it's just like we have to work on our triggers, because that was a trigger for me. I felt less than, I felt inferior. I felt like I'm this young Black girl. I don't have my college degree yet, right? Because I was still working on it at the time. I was in college building a business. And my mentor was very right. He was absolutely right. And because of the fact that I wasn't comfortable, that's what stopped me from getting to that success. But the one thing I would say is it's okay. I gave myself grace. I was young. I didn't know, right? But it also taught me that when I get into a space and I feel uncomfortable, I got to pay attention. Because if you are uncomfortable somewhere, it doesn't matter if it's with a client, if it's with a coach, if it's with a stranger, if it's with a family member, it doesn't matter. It could just be you in any environment. It could be you starting projects and working on, building your business and getting on social media apps. Anything that makes you uncomfortable, do it more. Because when you are working on those things that trigger you, what happens is you find out that one or two things will happen, right? You will, number one, you will see what the root issue really is, because a lot of times we're being triggered and we don't know why. We're like, I don't know, I just feel uncomfortable. Why do you feel uncomfortable? Because every time you have a feeling doesn't mean that it's I mean, your feelings are valid, but doesn't mean they're right. Like my mother told me when I was young, and I still remember to this day, y'all, and I'll tell this all the time. Feelings are foolish. Feelings are foolish. They know no consequences. So, how many times do you get a feeling and you just act out or lash out? Next thing now you're paying for that, for having, for acting off of that feeling. So your feeling doesn't, have a right or wrong, like it's gonna they don't have they don't know consequences. So it's not going to be the right thing to do just because you have a feeling about it. And I want to say that you're going to figure out the root of it. So you definitely have to, put yourself in those situations. And then that means you can take the next step and get help, right? Or you can work on it and go to YouTube University, like TeeCee said. I don't know, whatever y'all do. But it's also on the other side, on the flip side, it's also going to make you stronger in that one thing that you were triggered at. It's going to, even if you don't realize what the like root issue is, it will make you stop and think and say, wait a minute, I didn't just let that take over me. I didn't just let that emotion just like make me run and hide, right? Which I did several times, because I was like, oh my God, I remember Mr. Eddie. He was like, come to these meetings. And I was like, the board meetings? Oh no. And I would run and hide. So, it's things like that you have to, face. And when you face it, right? When you say, hey, man, why am I triggered? Let me stand here. Let me sit here. Let me experience this. Let me find out why I don't like it, why I don't want to be here. Don't just say it's just because I feel this way. If you use the word feel, I want you to really identify what you really mean by that, because feelings are foolish. So you can feel one minute one way 1 minute and feel another way the next minute. So they don't really have validity. But you gotta be able to know, like how you can empower yourself by facing them, facing your triggers, facing your fears head on right there in that moment. So those are things I wanted to share to anyone who feels like, they just are, triggered by a lot of these things and they don't want to get comfortable using new apps or even getting out in the public and talking to people in person. That's a big trigger for some people. They're like, oh my God, no, show up. I got to have a friend. And I'm like, what do you need a friend for? Show up. This is your business, not your friend's business, right? But people are like, I can't go by myself. I can't do that, right? Take yourself out on a date. Take yourself to the movies. Go treat yourself to a nice night in. Like whatever you would want your partner to do for you, you should be doing for yourself anyway. So the same thing, if you would want somebody to run your business a certain way, it's the same way you should be running your business, right? Just like take yourself out of it. But yeah, don't second guess yourself, y'all. And when you are offering anything, it doesn't matter if it's social media, it doesn't matter if it's in person, because I've actually done in-person sales, product in hand sales before. I actually enjoy the in-person sales, ironically. And I know we have to get out of here soon because TeeCee has she has something, masterclass workshop. She's always running around here serving her clients. But I just want to make sure y'all have so much value. So I'm just going to end with this, right? Know who you're serving, right? I do the 5 whys. I think it's like 5 whys. So when you go to a platform, right, and you want to post on that platform and get more leads, because we're talking about effortless marketing. So we want to make sure that those people are there, right? So when you're going to these platforms and you think your audience is there, number one, you want to always say, who am I going to be speaking to when I post on here? Okay, that's the first question. And then you also want to ask yourself, what am I going to talk about? What kind of topics, what kind of subject lines, what kind of, things do my audience, do those people want to hear? So who am I talking to? What do they want to hear? When do they want to hear it? Right? Are they at work at 12 o'clock in the afternoon or eating their lunch and they don't have time to to watch your YouTube video or your reel, or is it better for them at 9 o'clock at night when they're sitting in bed, kids are asleep, husband, whatever, whoever has who, right? Like, you want to know when they want to hear from you. I'm sorry, y'all, I'm getting tongue tied. And also, you want to know, like, where we already kind of talked about that, like which platform. So where do they want to hear from you the most? Because you can be on Instagram and someone can follow you and be like, oh my God, I'm always on YouTube. And so then you say to your audience, who else is on YouTube? If everybody else is on YouTube plus something, then you can go to YouTube too. But where, and then the last one is why. So do those 5 W's every time you try a new platform, try something new. And that's going to help you really get clarity around dissecting what it is that you want to do, even if it's just one lead magnet. And then that why is going to really tell you why you're even doing it. Because sometimes people get on social media, they start marketing their business and they do all this and all that. And then you go, well, why did you do all that? And they'll go, oh, I want to do this. And then you keep asking why. And then it actually goes down to they started one project that led to another project that led to another project. And next thing you know, here we are. So sometimes you have to ask yourself why too, why you're there, because maybe what you're doing really isn't what you want to do. I'll stop there. That's a big one. But TC, we got to end soon. I'm gonna leave the rest to you, and also, closing words and all that good stuff. I'll read through the comments.
Hmm. I love that, because sometimes where we are is not where we need to be, right? And so most times that could be the reasons why we're stuck up in our minds. We're stuck up in our thoughts. We're stuck up in that whole term of overthinking. Face your triggers and empower yourself. I like that, right? And most times as well, because we are not sure about where we are, if that's the place we are called to be, right? We just keep going in circles. Okay, so in addition to what Allegra said, talking about who you want to serve, what do they want to hear, what channels, what platforms, all of those great stuff. You want to as well figure out who you are and what exactly you want from all of these things you're pushing out, right? You want to start a business. Why exactly do you want to start this business? Are you starting a business because you heard somebody is making millions of dollars from the business? Who says? Did you see the money? Is that why you're joining? Is that why you want to do the business? Right? Ask yourself that question. Okay. Now it could be that you feel like that's going to be your escape plan. Yeah, most times we have like different reasons why we start our business, different reasons why we do the things that we do. But you see, when we come from a place of purpose, right? When we come from a place of abundance, when we come from a place of this is what I'm called to do, you will realize that even if you find yourself in this whole phase of, or you're caught up with having our diagnosis, analysis paralysis, you will find out that you're not going to stay stuck in that space. Why? Because you already know what your purpose is. So when you see the help, you can identify the help. Now, sometimes, most of the time, most of us are not able to accept help because we are yet to identify that that is the help we need. Right? So even when we see the help, we still are not able to tap into it because we are unaware that this is the help we need. And so we remain stuck, right? We're not able to move forward. Okay. So you want to, as much as possible, think about you as well. Before you start to, before you start to figure out if TikTok is my platform, if this is my platform, ask yourself those two questions I asked you, right? So I'm not a mindset coach. I'm nothing about, business clarity coach and all of that. I'm speaking to you based on my own experience, based on the fact that I'm human, I'm an individual, and I'm a business owner. And you see, these things are normal. Okay, sometimes I see, the other day I was asking sometimes I ask certain questions that just makes you do like, seriously? So we're just seated, watching a movie on Netflix, and I just stunned and I said to my husband, I said, I want to ask a question. And he said, okay. Like the look he gave me, like, what question again? So I'm like, no, no, seriously, I've been thinking about something. And I said to him, I said, how do you know that this is what you're called to do? And he's like, am I supposed to answer that question? I said, no, it's just a rhetorical question. And he's like, okay. And I'm like, yeah, because, sometimes it's in my head. Now, my point is, it's okay if you are in that space, right? If you overthink things, you're a creative. So it's normal. You're a business owner and you're an entrepreneur, and so you need to think, right? But don't get stuck in that space that you're not able to move forward. Okay? Don't get stuck in that space that you keep procrastinating, right? Don't get stuck in that space that you are yet to get yourself, moving to that next level, right? And yes, just thinking about it as well. We're going to be breaking all of this down in the masterclass. I'm sure you've been hearing about this masterclass that we are having on the 27th, 28th, 29th. Yeah, I got that right. On the 27th, 28th, 29th of this month, that's like upper week, right? On Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we are going to be deep diving into all of these things we're talking about, right? So I think for me, I love the integration with the business coach and me, like doing the work. It just gives you this whole, not only the idea, but it gives you the tools and the resources for you to not only make the right decisions, right, but you're also putting in the right things into your business. Remember, whatever we put in our business, right, whatever we sow in our business is what we're going to reap. You can't sow, let me make you guys laugh. We can't sow a cat, right? Like you can't, maybe a cat cannot have something to do with another cat and then it gives birth to a lion. It is not possible, it doesn't make sense, right? So you want to, as much as possible, ensure that whatever you're sowing in your business, right, you are open-minded to receiving it same way. You can't say you're not able to invest 10K and you want to make 10K. You can't make the 10K. I don't know, but you can't. You can't say that you want to start doing 10 figure, 100 figures, all of that. You should be ready to make an investment that is what that is, tallies with that. Now, even if it's not monetary investment, it needs to be time investment, it needs to be energy investment, but you want to be able to understand that it's the energy with the investment that matters. So if you're saying I want to make 100,000, you should be ready to give in something worth that so that you're able to get double. Right? Now, this masterclass is really all about tools, resources, how to do it, breaking it down and showing you. Right? Now, we're going to take 3 days to do all of these things. And we are doing that because after these 3 days, we want you, like literally, you're going to be transformed, right? But we want you to have to say, oh my gosh, like I can't believe what is happening in my business, right? And that's the kind of transformation you're going to see. Because it's more, yeah, we're going to be going like streamlining with the whole live stream audio. But think about building your funnels with the live stream as part of your marketing strategy, right? Leveraging the audio space as a part of your lead generation funnel, or as a part of your buyer journey, right? As a part of that customer purchasing journey, you're going to work your customers through, right? As part of that experience, how does it work? How can you choose what platforms? How can you siphon and say to yourself, okay, you know what? These are the people I need to serve. These are the people I'm called to serve, right? And this is what I want to do. Now we're talking about emails. Do you know that you can actually incorporate your live stream, your audios, and all of that into your email marketing campaign and make it seamless? Because people are on the go right now. People are on the go. If you can, give them your playlist and say, I have this for you, right? Just few words, drop the playlist there, and then send it to them as email. Like, it's beautiful. Why do you think people like Usher keeps making hundreds of millions? Beyonce, all of them, because we listen. We want to plug in something and just keep driving, right? We want to, we're on the go. So why, see, think about it that way. We're talking effortless marketing. If you realize, okay, you see, my audience are always on the go. They're moms, they have 9 to 5, they don't have my time. They want things, super easy. Give them super easy. With your email marketing, with your funnels, all of those things, we're going to teach you how to do it. All of these things I'm talking about, right? I'm going to show you and teach you. Allegra is going to be there, like literally coaching you to ensure that you're able to get it, right? So it makes sense for you. So I'm going to pause there so I don't give you all of the secrets. Okay, so just DM Allegra with the word masterclass, or myself with the word masterclass is on the screen. Masterclass, that's it. Whatever channel you're watching this, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, um, Instagram. No, it's not Instagram. We're not on Instagram today. Make sure that you DM the word masterclass, and we'll get you a sit on for this training. Okay, that's it from me, Allegra. I have a workshop to do, and I can't wait. That's it. That's how we close today's session.
All right, TC. Well, we definitely are over time, and I thank you so much for what you just added to the pot, because people need to understand the specifics of this 3-day masterclass, which I actually decided, because I did get some questions about, like, they wanted to see the itinerary breakdown, right? Because every day we're going to be walking you through something different that's going to help you, right? And one of the things that I've realized, TC, because there's a lot of value in this masterclass, right? Not to mention, like, because it's 2 hours a day, so 3 days, 2 hours a day. And we actually have it where I was working on some of the back end, where I have a whole university, right? Like, in my business, like, we have resources forever. And I was looking at some of the resources that some of my clients normally ask for the most. And guess what those resources are? Those are scripts. How many times would people go, "Oh, I just really wish I knew what to write for my email sales funnels. I really wish I knew what to write for my blogs. I really wish I knew what to write for my sales calls and, for my sales pitches." And so not only am I including, right, majority of those, I think I counted 26 scripts that I already pulled. So each and every person that comes to the masterclass will be able to access all of that content, all of that information. Not only that, but I'm adding the role play, because when we do the actual masterclass, we'll have time in there towards the end of the masterclass to actually do role play, because some of these things that you're going to be learning, from like how to really speak on your message, how to show up on the camera, okay, because we're going to be sharing our screens, we're going to go through a lot of that actual implementation process, because TC is here, right? You're going to get coached, but that implementation has to happen too. But I wanted to emphasize it because some of the pain points that I'm still seeing, TC, and this is where I think people go, "Oh my God, the coaching industry is in shambles because people promise but don't deliver." Well, it's because it's not an overnight process, because you have to be nurtured through learning about your business yourself and growing through that process. Some of my clients have been with me for almost 2 years now. So it's not, it's not just a one hit wonder. So you do have to be able to have time to go through this, learn it. And then once you get it, we're going to role play, and then you'll be able to do those same things ongoing in your business and even teach your staff. So I really want to emphasize that, TC, because those breakout rooms and some of the pain points from my clients is the role play. Is I don't have anyone to practice that with. I don't have anyone to correct me when it's said the wrong way, or I don't know how that really sounds to people. And it's not just a pitch, okay? This is us speaking, because you want to be able to not only speak to people on lives, but you want to know things like, how does my tone sound, or my eyes looking the right way, right? Am I jittery? Like, all these things, right? And we want to make sure that you have space. So I had to mention that in the breakout rooms, and I had to also say that those templates I added, that's value there. But on top of that, y'all, before we get out of here, I want you to make sure that you're following TC. You can get in our spaces at any time, because we do still work with our clients ongoing. But I will say this, TC, yesterday when I said we were launching the podcast in March, for those of you in the Wing community, get ready, because we have that launched in March for Women's Herstory Month. But the monetization behind that thing, y'all, behind showing up, speaking on a stage, and getting blasted across the world is magnanimous. And I want to share some more of that with y'all. So I'll be sharing some more of that as far as the monetization as well, TeeCee. So we will add that to the workshop as well, because I'm going to be writing out a full guide of step by step what I'm going to be suggesting in a strategy for podcasting. So that's all we have, y'all. Have an amazing day. DM us the word masterclass, and make sure that if you need to go back to this replay to hear what you need to hear, do what you got to do. All right.